What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing some TLC on the EVO. Just finished the Subaru Speed Expo a couple days ago, and I really haven't had time to kind of just check over the car after the track day. I did notice at Autobahn that my front pads were getting slightly low, so that's something I want to change just for safety reasons. I mean, they have enough meat left on them for another session or two, but I'd rather not play the risk. On top of that, I also have these titanium shims for the calipers and the brakes. So I bought these from a gentleman from Russia. He makes a ton of like titanium parts. I mean, you basically ask for it. If you can get a sample of it, he'll make it. Anyways, I'll post his link down below. But these shims basically sit between the brake pad and the caliper, and they act as like a thermal barrier. So basically all the heat that's being transferred from the pad to the rotor, that heat isn't being transferred directly into the caliper and then into the brake fluid. So that titanium shim is acting as a thermal barrier. How well it works, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of, a good amount of professional racers use them. Now, will it be something that I notice? No, but will it probably help in the long run from boiling fluid and stuff like that? Most likely. I mean, and I got them for like 150 bucks shipped from Russia, so I can't complain. So that's gonna be the plan. Probably swap or rotate the tires, check them for wear and stuff like that. Replace the front brake pads and then check the rears. I'm pretty sure the rears are still pretty good. And then finally, just going to install those titanium shims up front and in the rear. So yeah, gonna get to it right here. So first, just going to loosen up the lug nuts, and then after that, I'll jack it up and pull the wheels off completely. Obviously, I want to make sure that's on the pinch weld. Don't want to go through the floor or anything like that. I've seen it happen before. It's not pretty. Down slowly. Perfect. Now I can just zip these guys off real easy. So as you can see, there's enough material, but still kind of sketchy. So fronts are going to get replaced for sure, and then rears, let's see if I can get that in there. Well, rears look meh. Should probably replace the rears, but I don't have the pads. So looks like that's what I'm gonna have to order and do this again. So lesson learned. Buy front and rear pads at the same time, even if you don't think you need them. Thankfully, doing pads on EVOs with these Brimbos are super easy. Just punch out the 2 pins, slide out the pads, expand the expand the pistons, which I have a special tool for that. Put the new pads in, shims in, put the hardware back on, and you're done. I don't have a punch, or I lost it, so I'm just going to use a quick screwdriver here, a little mini one, and this annoying hammer, but it works. A little bit of pressure, comes right out. Oh, Jesus. Almost, there we go. I mean, not too bad. Still have some material left on them, but I'd rather be safe. I'm gonna put brand new pads in. I have brand new front pads at least. And then the rears, I'll do some other day, just because it'll be easier that way. There we go. Done. Well, I feel like an idiot. I actually had titanium shims this whole time. I'd never really thought about it. I just thought that they were regular shims because they came with the car when I purchased it. But I had them the whole time, and they're from gyro disc. There are a couple differences between the gyro disc and the Ypirinium, or basically the guy from Russia. So I'll just show those differences to you guys right now. I probably will be running the new ones though, just because the surface area is a little bit greater and it seems like it's a little bit thicker. But I'll show you right now. Ooh, got a little stuff on my nose. So here's just a quick little side-by-side. So this is from the gentleman from Russia, the Ypirinium. I'm going to butcher saying it, but whatever. And then these are the gyro disc titanium shims. And they're actually, the thickness is the same, but you can kind of see that the other brand are just a little bit bigger. They have a greater surface area. So I'm just going to run those guys and see how they work, and I'll just keep the gyro disc ones as spares, I guess. So I'm going to show you probably one of my favorite tools, and it's the Lang Caliper Compressor tool, whatever. Made that up, but it's made by Lang and it's awesome. It saves you the hassle of having to use some weird screwdriver method or whatever, you know, potentially damaging your rotor or a caliper, something like that. So it's super easy. You basically just insert it like so, and then you crank this guy. Let's see. Ugh. There we go. Keep cranking. Also, you want to pop open your brake fluid reservoir. You want to open your brake fluid reservoir so that you what was I saying? Oh, open up your brake fluid reservoir so that the fluid has somewhere to go and release the pressure. I also went in and kind of dug through some of my spare parts because I actually found a pair of used pads that still have a good amount of meat left on them. And you know, I'd rather go through these pads than open up a new box and use the new box. They're exactly the same. They're still the Hawk DTC 70s. So it's not like I'm going to be switching up compounds or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just going to be running these used pads. Save a couple bucks, you know, roast through these for this last track weekend. And I'm pretty sure I'll still have some left over for a couple track days. Maybe a couple track days maybe next year. So this. Oh, so it's also nice because you see this shim like covers the entire surface area of the pad, rather than the gyro discs where they cut it short a little bit. Slide that guy in. Okay, there it is. So I usually just slide the top pin in first, get this guy in second, and then do the bottom pin. At least that way the pad's being held in and it won't really fall out of place. Okay, there's that second pin, there we go. Okay. Get in there. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right, so all 4 shims were installed, front pads swapped with slightly newer pads, and now it's just time to rotate the tires. Now, the way that I've always done it was you take the rears, swap them on the front, so, you know, driver rear gets put up to driver front, and then the opposite side as well. Passenger rear goes to passenger front, and then the 2 front wheels get swapped. So then the passenger front wheel goes to the driver rear, and the driver front wheel goes to the passenger rear. So yeah, I mean, that's how I've done it, and I mean, I've never really had any issues with wearing tires, besides if I have any excessive wear from uneven tire pressure. I think last season I ran into an issue with the old set of tires, but that was my fault because I wasn't regulating tire pressure on track. So you kind of saw more uneven wear across, but all these tires basically have even wear. I mean, they've only had a couple, yeah, they've only had a total of maybe 5 track days on them, and they're still basically brand new. And yeah, all right, so gonna do that and then bolt them up and go for a quick test drive. Now, I did forget to kind of mention that I am running hub-centric spacers. They're 20 millimeters because these RS-05RRs are 35 offset because they came off my Rally Art. So in order to get that kind of meteor fitment, I had to add those in to bring it up to a +15 offset. Also, I'm running ARP extended studs, so that's a reason why kind of when you saw when I took the wheel off that they weren't actually, the spacers, the hub-centric spacers weren't bolted to the hub. They were just kind of slid over it. I mean, I don't necessarily need to bolt them down because I have the extended studs. So once I torque down the lug nuts and they're fine, I don't have to worry about it. They'll stay torqued down just as if, you know, it was just as if the tire was, or sorry, just as if the wheel was already at a 15 offset. So yeah, I don't have to worry about, you know, them coming loose or anything like that. So final step is just to torque down the lug nuts. Now I have to be a little bit careful because they are aluminum lug nuts. So I can't really over torque it too much. So I just stick with whatever Mitsubishi recommends. And if I remember correctly, it's anywhere between 80 and 90 foot-pounds. So I kind of do the middle, I do 85. And then I'm pretty OCD about it. So after I do a test drive, I'll come back, check all the wheels again. And then when I'm on track, I'm really OCD about it. And after every single session, once the car cools down a little bit, maybe after like 10 minutes, I'll recheck the torque on all the lug nuts again, just to be extra careful. I mean, you really don't want to have a wheel pop off out on track. It's so the last step is to torque down the wheels. I usually stick to what the manufacturer says. I believe Mitsubishi says anywhere between 80 to 90 foot-pounds for the torque spec. I do have to be a little bit careful because they're aluminum lug nuts, so I can't over-torque them or else I run the risk of stripping them. So I usually just stick to like 85 foot-pounds, and then after I do a test drive, come back, recheck all the wheels, make sure everything's good. And that's when I, drive it out on the street. But when I'm out on track, I'm a little bit more OCD about it. After every session, once the car cools down a little bit, I'll check the torque again, just to make sure that they're all nice and tight, and reduce the risk of, popping a wheel off out on track. So yeah. So I just went for a quick test drive, warmed the car up a little bit, got the trans temp up to operational temperature, same thing with the oil temp. And after having my issue with that boost or vacuum line that I made, I'm trying to, make sure that I go out with the car after I've done something to it, just to make sure that everything's okay. And I mean, the wheels are all torqued down, the brake pads are fine, I don't feel any difference. So yeah, I'm just gonna hop on here and accelerate up to speed. That was 50 miles an hour. The funny part is this is only like 15 psi. I'm just running it off of wastegate pressure, and it still rips. So I can't wait until next season, once I get it running back up to 28 psi and I'm back running 450 wheel. I mean, I think the car ran 100% for maybe a week. And then I went to Gridlife Midwest and I started having all those boost leak issues, and I ended up having a leak between the exhaust manifold and the turbo. So I had to basically put threaded inserts on the turbo so that I could reinstall proper like the OEM turbo bolts so they wouldn't keep backing out. But yeah, the car's running perfect right now. So, hope you guys liked this episode, this video, whatever it was. Like it, comment down below if you have any questions about anything. Also, please comment if I can somehow improve these videos. I mean, I'm trying my best, doing these videos more often is gonna help me to get better, but I really appreciate, constructive criticism, or any kind of criticism at all. And then finally, also, please subscribe. I mean, I'll probably be putting out a couple more videos, for the end of the season here. And then once the winter time comes around, it's gonna die down a little bit, just because that's when I really hunker down and I work overtime to make some extra cash to get ready for the next season. So, until the next video, take care, guys.